big enough. And I said, what? He said, I said, I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll trade parts with you. And he said to me, they wouldn't let me wear my funny clothes in that part, would they? I said, no, you have to be a real person. He said, well, I don't think I can do that to my public. And I looked at him, and I had to say what I said. And it seemed like an hour. I said to him, what public, Dad?
Well, the first reading was a total disaster. And all of us, as we read along this long table, just looked around at one another because Ed could not read. He had not been used to reading. He was used to doing his own clown stuff, which was like, I have an 11-foot pole for people I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. That was his kind of humor. And we looked at each other, and we tried a couple of days of rehearsal, and it was a disaster. And finally, Keenan came to me and said, look, I can't let my father disgrace himself in front of 20 million people.
And by the second week, he was unbelievably bad. He didn't improve at all. He was just terrible. And then it started. You know, everybody wanted to replace him. And it was a terrible position for everybody. For me, because I agreed with him that it was not good for him. It was a terrible situation. And the most gentle man of all was Jack Palance. It was a very important part for him. And he was so gentle. You've heard all kinds of stories about Jack being rough and... Well, it's just ridiculous. He went out of his way. He did everything for this man.
It seemed to me there was a huge well of loneliness there that needed to be looked at, and was eventually looked at. I was totally captivated by this. I did not see all of these gaps or gaping holes in his performance, that he wasn't able to remember lines occasionally. Such a small thing.
We got another actor named Ned Glass, who would rehearse out of the sight of my dad, and when actors could, they would rehearse with Ned.
He must have been far out of sight, because I didn't know anything about it. I think at that time I mentioned to somebody that if Ed left, that I was going to leave too. So I don't think they would have told me about Ned Glass.
I had scenes I played with him, and they were very tough scenes that had to be played. And you see, he had never done this sort of thing really before. And whenever he would become lost, he'd say, oh my goodness me, or he'd do an Ed Wynnism, you know, so. And of course, this would be disaster. And I had scenes with him where I really had to rough him up. That was the part I played. Now they had to pull him, or I'd say, listen, you do this and you do that. And I would do that to him, and he would get, this panic-stricken look would come, and, you know, he would suddenly forget the character. This was now, he was my father, and his son was roughing him up.
Keenan and I worked with Ed sometimes. As a matter of fact, we worked with him at night when everybody else had gone, and I worked on a weekend just to see that nothing happened, or that he wasn't removed from the cast.
Ralph Nelson wanted his name off it. Rod wanted his name off it. Rod said, if this man is going to play this part, I don't want my name on it, because there won't be anything.
So we all went to Martin Manulus. Now, Marty was in the spot. Playhouse 90 as a series had not yet gone on the air. A number of stars had been publicized to appear in the first program, and ours was to be the second. He didn't want to suddenly announce that one of the leading major stars was withdrawn.
I really had a strong feeling about not replacing him, that I had decided that he was a man of extraordinary talent, extraordinary career in the theater, and that I just couldn't see firing him.
And Marty said he will be all right. And it's up to you guys to make him all right. Now, you've still got a week and a half. Figure it out.
at the countdown of 10 seconds, 9, 8, 7 to air time, the only thing that went through my mind most often was what other work would be available to someone with my training.
Requiem for a Heavyweight went on live on the CBS network on October the 12th, 1956, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the critics and the public raved about it. Jack Gould in the New York Times wrote, it was a play of overwhelming force and tenderness, an artistic triumph. It had immense power and poetry and is certain to win many a prize. And oh boy, that it did. A Peabody, a Sylvania, a Harcourt Brace Award, a TV Writers Award, and at the 1957 Emmy Awards, the moment came to announce the winner for the Best Dramatic Writing of 1956. And this is that moment. The winner is in Hollywood, Rod Serling.
The first show he ever sold was for $100 to NBC. But then Patterns happened, and it was just an unbelievable sort of reaction. The industry, the media, the critics loved it. Everybody loved it. He had this flash-in-the-pan elephant on his back. You know, was he a one-shot writer? Would he ever do anything that was really, really great again?
A writer rarely gets an opportunity to get in front of a camera, so I'm going to take this opportunity. It's pretty old hat for people to try to share some of the respect and honor one gets, toss it around a bit so a lot of people can enjoy it, but I simply have to. How much do you pay for the invaluable services of a producer like Martin Manulus, a creative director like Ralph Nelson, a wonderful procast like Jack Palance, Keenan Wynn, and Ed Wynn? And to the Academy, thanks for all of us. I'll take it home.
Thanks. 2 weeks after the show aired, Jack Gould once again wrote glowingly about Requiem and urged a second showing when the opportunity permits. That was a quarter of a century ago. Well, the opportunity now permits. You, along with me, are about to see the second showing of Requiem for a Heavyweight, which is a kinescope. That is a black and white film taken off a television screen as it was performed live. No second takes. It happened as you will see it.